Well, here it is, the third and I believe the last DLC for Wolfie 2. This one is the Deeds of Captain Wilkins. This might be the toughest DLC, it might be like middle of the road, but it's definitely simpler than the main game, just like the other ones. So you can do the volumes separately, and you can fail them and keep retrying whichever part you need to, if you have to. And right away here I'm getting the silencer for the machine pistol on the top here. And I'm basically going to be using a silencer as much as I can through the whole DLC. Gerald also gets the Battle Walker, and you also gain health when you kill people. So you can just keep all that stuff in mind if you weren't aware of it. Although I think you have to be aware of the Battle Walker. I think you might have to use it to get around. So to start here, I'm just staying on the top. I'm gonna do this a lot. A lot of the sections you can skip through, but my strategy will often be to try and silently snipe out as many people as I can before moving on. So right here in the beginning there were just two guys right where you start, right where I'm standing right now. And then one guy to my right. He's there pretty soon when it starts. And the path here is going to be around the top. And you could go directly to it, jumping on a crate. But I started to go around the side here. I think you're less exposed to the heavy when you're running along the side like this. You could also just fight the heavy. Sometimes he paths in the center where there's an explosive, and you can just shoot it and shoot him. It's not that hard to take him out too.
Felt unreal being back here. I had a job to do, but damn, I wanted a goddamn cheeseburger.
For this section, it can be they can be very unforgiving with when they find you. So I found it's best to start it off by killing the two guys right under you from the top of the vent before you drop down. And then wait to drop down for as long as you can, for as long as you feel patient enough. I'm not sure when exactly is the right time. I think it's as long as that the guy in the jumpsuit passes. And once you do drop, you're going to want to get over to the side of the pipe here and just use it as cover. And you're probably used to this by now if you've gone through the other DLCs, but people will go ahead and investigate the bodies that you've left behind. And you can kind of use them as bait. From the top here, from this top pipe, I just shot the commander from a ways away. Sometimes he'll path back a ways where you can't see him, but he will eventually get up to where I just shot him. So it's a good time to take him out from a distance. And if you can get him out, then you don't really have to worry about taking out the other guys really quickly. I think the key to not having them sound an alarm is trying to go for headshots. There's some period of time where if you don't hit them in the head, they have like some amount of time to start calling people over, and then that ends the whole stealth phase for you. I think it's also worth pointing out, getting on top of this pipe I'm on can be a little tricky. You just need to figure out how to do it right. You don't want to like... I wasn't able to get on it hugging myself against it. I had to have a little space before I climbed up. If that makes sense. You'll probably see for yourself if you end up going for it with some speed. If you're trying to desperately get up there, you might not be able to right away. But if you just give yourself some space when you're going for the jump, it's simple. After you clear this room, then you move on into the next one. This door will automatically open with the heavy in it. So I like to just have everyone else down before I go in here. If you have grenades, now's a good time to throw them, but you'll just want to make sure you actually get them through the door, not in front of it like I did. And the only reason I went in here was for the upgrade. You could just skip this by going straight up the box I'm about to go up. You don't actually have to fight the heavy, but I think it's worth it to get that upgrade. I think I was looking around for pistol ammo. Either pistol ammo or armor. Pistol ammo's kind of in short supply. You should have enough ammo to get what you need to do. Or do what you need to do. Sometimes this second guy won't be pathing here, and that's okay, you can just move on. I would take out the guy up the stairs though, at least. And if you don't see anybody else, you can just go down here. But you will want to keep in mind that 1 or 2 people can path back to the stairs where you killed your first guy in this room, and then they can trigger the alarm, or they can go on high alert from seeing the body. It won't get the alarm raised, but they'll all be more sensitive to seeing you. But you should have enough time to take them out, as long as you're noticing. That's why I keep on peeking out to the left there. Once you have this down, the main thing you want to be looking for is the commander. Just like in most rooms, if you can take the commander out, then it'll be a lot less stressful while you're in here. Sometimes he goes up to that catwalk for you. Sometimes he paths down into the middle, right next to the objective. Sometimes he's sitting all the way in the back on the top. If you are paying attention to the music in the game, once you kill everybody in a room, the music will typically stop. It'll settle down.
It'd be in here somewhere.
And that's how you might know to
On a sub
move on, that you're safe to just move on. After you hit the objective there, you can just go straight up that box up to the top here, but the door will open and then you'll just have the one guy to deal with.
Sie für die Abfahrt zur Kodiak-Basis im Lasterdepot. Vielen Dank.
Everyone was gathering in one place.
Once you get to this room,
Like a party.
what I like to do is go
Party
left
this old man was gonna cry.
and just take everybody out as I move down all the way to the left side. Now, there are 6 of them in this room, so you'll just want to count 6. At this point, I thought I was safe, but there was one guy right there who's kind of hiding from me. I kind of covered him up with my gun, actually. I couldn't see him. But there's 6 in the room, and as long as you count, you'll be all good. Or just look around. Now for this section, it is possible to sneak through it just like the previous room, but it's a bit trickier. I've seen this guy come down the stairs and go a few different ways. So generally my strategy is to try and go sneaky first. If I remember right, I don't think it works out at all here. But luckily you're in a good spot just from the starting position for if they're all alerted to you. So all you have to do is stay inside of the elevator shaft. And you can just lean outside of the door just like a normal door. And I don't think there's a way for them to shoot through the grates in this room. Sometimes they'll notice you through the grates, sometimes they won't. Okay, so that guy was just out of like the guaranteed range to get a headshot with the pistol. Sometimes just going for the headshot anyway will work out, so I just went for it. So now you can see here, like, the only way that they're going to shoot you is if they go through this door and look at you down this doorway. So as long as you have it covered, you should be safe. And now this is going to be the last room in the first volume. And this room can be a little bit tricky, but it's not too bad. In this room you want to make sure you're not sprinting. If you're sprinting, it'll get the attention of the people on the other side of the wall. So the start of this room is pretty simple. For as long as you can, you just want to snipe people away silently. Sometimes the two guys on the left can trigger really fast and find you really quick, so you just kind of want to be sure that you're taking them out with headshots. There are a few spots in this room that you can go in and kind of lean out of for safety. I've used the bottom crate right here before, and I've actually never died in that crate before. But I kind of feel more comfortable going up. When you go up, the dog can't get you. It just feels a little bit safer up here. The rocket pistols are super useful for taking out the heavies. Before you take off, you just want to make sure you get that third heavy out of the next room.
Felt good knowing there were that
Once the
many
music
nuts
quiets down,
in soil.
you know you're
The
good.
rest were heading.
So now on to volume 2. The beginning is really simple. Just gonna start by executing both of these guys. Neither of them are facing you, so easy enough. Now you can crouch around on the little catwalk to the right and get a better shot if you need to. But I'm always pretty confident that the shots are gonna hit there. They very rarely miss in that spot. Now I'm not sure that this is entirely necessary, but I'm doing it just in case. I'm not sure what it is that triggers the robots. But since they're immobilized, I like to just take them out just in case.
Armed and ready. Ready to kill some Nazis.
Is everything about killing with you? Cross said he's in position. Hurry up. Out.
If I were her age, I would have been decked for talking like that to a superior. Her dad should have taught her some manners.
Alright, this next spot is, well, it can be tricky. It's a little bit, it's one of the riskier portions. If you're gonna go up, I would always start it by taking out this robot first anyway, because he's really slow to turn around. Now I have this strategy work a lot, and I'd recommend trying it out because this is just the second room, or the third room in this volume, so it's right in the beginning. What you'll want to do is exactly what I did, but take note of the door right in front of me there with the yellow lines. That's where you want to run through. When I climbed the stairs, there was a dog right in the doorway. So what you'll want to do is pay attention to if there's a dog there. You'll probably want to have a silenced weapon out when you go up the stairs, not these. And you'll want to see where the dog is and try to run past the dog through the door. Once the alarm is triggered, then the door closes on you and you have to fight this out. And this is going to work out for me, obviously, but it's not the easiest thing to do. I've definitely died in this spot too. But oftentimes it's really easy to just take out that first robot, hop across, and run straight through the door. And you can avoid a lot of the hassle of this room. So if you go up the stairs to where the dog is, and the dog is in your path, I think if you shoot it fast enough with a silenced weapon, you'll be able to just run on by for another few seconds before the alarm's triggered. Otherwise, he's going to be on the left or right side of a pillar that you have to pass to get to the door, and you kind of just want to not run straight into the dog. And if you can do that, then you're pretty much home free to run through the door. It'll be kind of a close call, but it'll be worth it. The door will actually close on all the enemies. Sneaky heavy. So once everybody's dead there, the door will open back up.
There should be enough to take out a super cannon.
Most of the time, those two enemies will not be triggered on you at all. Sometimes they will be, so you'll just want to keep that in mind once you turn into the hallway. Sometimes they'll be alerted to you just when you enter the hallway.
That gun is gone. Any word from Cross?
But as long as you're ready, they're not too... It's not really an issue.
Clive works in the shadows.
And after you blow up the target, the gun, the upper door will open up for you, just like that.
That's enough gory details.
And you can move on.
Head that way and see if Cross couldn't use some help. Ginny out.
Now this is a room that's pretty easy to clear. You can clear it all silently, very easily, except for the heavy. Heavy you'll have to fight. So I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just going to take out the two guys I just shot, the one up here on the ledge and the one farther on the ground. And once that's done, I'm just going to head on up. I keep on looking over here to make sure that that guy, the regular guard, hasn't pathed back to where I had to walk. Sometimes he can do that, and then you'll want to take him out too. And then you can just move on through the vent like I did and skip some of the enemies in that room. And once you get in this room, you're going to want to take out the commander and the guard right in front of you. And then you're going to want to look down and take out the next two guys. And you'll either, as long as you were quick like that, if you did it at that speed, you can just head on over to the left and go up exactly where I went up. If you took a little bit too long, the heavy that you have to pass, that I just passed, will be a little bit too close to you, and he'll actually hear you jump up. So you'll want to wait, basically. Just wait a little while, and then you can go on the left side of the room and follow the same path. I've never done this room without triggering an alarm before. I'm not sure if you can do it stealthily the whole way, because when you open the gate, heavies come out. But this is a really good room to lean out of and fight the rest of the room. So I always stick with that strategy. Normally they'll only come out of the right door, they won't come out of this back door, but sometimes they can, so I do like to check it. Once you press this button, 2 or 3 heavies are going to come out of that gate. And they will already be alerted to you if you fought the room for sure. Again, I'm not sure what happens if you stealth your way to opening the gate. I'd assume they would not be alerted. But I'm not sure if there's a safe way to pass them. So I like to, like I said, I just like to fight in this room. Okay, this was a kind of a strange moment because I could not find the second heavy. And I'm pretty sure there just wasn't one in the room. Yeah, there wasn't one. So either sometimes there's only one heavy, or my heavy might have gotten hit by the train. I don't know if that can happen. Moving right along though, this is a pretty simple room. Just want to take out that guy who's right in front of you. And as you get to this corner, this guy in the green jumpsuit, he can be in different places. He could be walking towards you at this time. So you'll just want to stay towards the back of the wall so that he can't see you from the bottom. You also might want to keep in mind that there is a robot. There's one more robot that I didn't take out, because I don't think you need to, but he was further back on the bottom. In this room you can just press the button, you don't have to aim it.
Come in. Mission's over, buddy.
And here you'll just want to be ready for
Friends, won't you?
a couple enemies to get really close to you pretty quickly.
Right there.
I'm a spy, you dolt. I've always been part of the German Empire. Clive Cross isn't my real name. I stole these dog tags from some Untermensch's corpse. Surrender.
Damn it!
Captain, come in. Clive's a traitor.
Yeah, he just tried to kill me.
I had no idea. He came to me saying he knew where I could find you, and I trusted that fucking traitor.
Calm down. Where are you now? Where can I find Cross?
He's in the super cannon, and he's gonna.
Okay, now this room can typically be done silently pretty easily. This first one. I think things get a little bit hectic, but I think it's also a good example of what you can do in that case. Right off the bat, when you open the door, when you press the button, you might have noticed I took my path immediately when I left the door and got behind this box. And you won't want to delay when you do that if you take the same path, because one of the enemies is on his way over to the door, so you'll just want to be quick about getting to the box. And there's 3 easy enemies to take out from the box, and then from there you can kind of just snipe who comes out to go check the bodies. But in my case, my first shots on the next guys missed. But like you saw, using the starting room, the starting little bunker, as a lean room is a good strategy because there's only one way in. Definitely a good spot. And this room's pretty simple. It's just a few regular guards.
Captain, come in, Captain. It's Cross. He's...
Cross is what? God damn it, I'll be there soon.
At the start of this room, I like to take out the guy on the left and then move along the right side, just like I'm doing here. The big warning with this going on this side is that there are 2 robots in this crate behind me. So if you trigger the alarm, that will wake them up, and then you'll be in some pretty quick danger. So after I take out everybody that I can see, I'll just move on to meleeing the robots. And I think if you do it fast enough, it won't cause anybody to be alerted. If you follow the same path as me, chances are there's at least one regular soldier walking around, as well as the heavy. For me, I think there was just 2 left. Just those 2. And then the heavy. I'm not sure if the heavy will path away, or I think he probably will. There's probably a way to do this room in complete stealth, but I thought it was just a little simpler to take him out because he kind of guards that button pretty tightly. And the heavies can one-shot you, so I'd rather take them out from a distance. On to the last room of this volume. Again, I walk out to the left to shoot that guy. And there are 2 heavies to start with here, and one of them walks out on the right side, and you'll want to kind of delay behind the missile for the start, because he will be able to see you when you walk out. Then I like to go down to the bottom here, and normally this guy will be leaning on a crate. This is actually the first time I saw him over this far in the tunnel, which was interesting, but it didn't really change anything. And if you can help it, this is definitely a section you'll want to be as careful as possible with, trying to snipe them out. My favorite spot to go to fight this room is in the corridor on the right side, the upper one. You don't really want to be on the bottom here because they can shoot through the middle grate and kill you through the middle grate if you're on the bottom. sure there are other places to go to lean as well. For whatever reason, I just feel more comfortable in this little bunker. Probably because it's high up, I think.
Captain, we need to hurry. Cross is gonna shoot that gun.
And that's it for this volume.
See what I can do.
Now you're just going to trigger the objectives.
Improvise.
For that room, I do like to rely on the music to tell me when all the enemies are dead. On to volume 3.
I'd only been back in America a few days.
Right at the start, there's a guy above you. I like to walk up this submarine and go where he was to take out this first commander. Okay, now after you do this, there are enemies that are going to walk out from the bottom after a few seconds. But if you just go quick enough, you can just leave. Do the battle walker up to the top there and then do 2 sprint jumps across. And just leave without taking out the other enemies.
Are you inside?
What the hell? Get out of my head, Spectre.
For this section, there was just the one guy that we passed. That's in your way.
I thought it was to keep water out of my ears.
Nobody else in here to worry about.
Whatever. I found some blueprints on the base. If you keep moving forward, you'll run into the bulk of the enemy forces.
That suits me just fine. I need to feast on some.
That's stupid. There are maintenance hatches nearby and you can avoid them. Take those.
Oh. It was surreal, receiving orders from my daughter.
This is a section that can
She was
definitely
right.
get messy.
I had a job to do. I wasn't here to kill Nazis.
It is definitely possible to snipe out this room and clear almost everybody but the 2 commanders. You'll want to start with these 4 guys, just like I did. That last one with the flashlight, sometimes he's not in that spot, sometimes he's farther down, but he should walk back to you eventually. And earlier I was bringing up headshots, doing headshots to not trigger alarms. That is a perfect example of when he was being hit consistently, but he triggered the alarm because he wasn't killed instantly. So that's definitely something you want to make your goal when you're doing this, if you're using this method. Just go for those headshots. In that instance, I probably should have just waited for him to get closer, and then it would have worked out. Now right here what I'm doing is a little bit aggressive. I'm doing it because I know this, you can just go through this vent. Probably, if you wanted to be safer, you would have taken your time on the first corner and then shot them down as you went through each corner, so you didn't have to run by them like I did it. But that should at least show you that it's possible to just run on by.
Tell you about fighting down there?
Hey, I had no choice. I didn't even want to, I swear.
Seriously?
Ah, it was great.
From there, you can directly access the barracks. Try not to make too much noise, Captain.
Sure. And Ginny, call me Dad.
I'll think about it.
Okay, this is another tricky little section of this volume. This is another one where it is definitely possible to sneak through it and silent shoot everybody that you see. I think the trickiest part is getting by this next corner if you're going to end up doing that. If you can get by this next corner, then you can definitely make it. So because they were on high alert there already, he had the time to walk back to the corpse. That made it so my shot just automatically did the trigger because it wasn't a headshot. If I would have gone down farther, see, I went into the room to pick up the upgrade first, and I think maybe what you want to do is actually just go down the hallway first. Clear out that corner, and once that corner is clear, then you can go back for the upgrade. I don't even think I utilized that upgrade. I think that was the drums for the machine pistol, which can be useful, I guess, but I don't think I'm going to use the machine pistol too much more. But maybe you will. That corner is a little bit tricky, the one I was referring to. So you got the one guy in front of you, and then there's two more guards around the commander when you turn the corner. But as long as you go one by one, and you do it quickly, it shouldn't trigger any alarms. You should be able to go through it stealthily. And then from there, that's just, I think maybe one more guy and a robot that's not moving. And then the last commander. And the hallway's easy enough. But like you saw, and I'm a little behind here, but like you saw, if you just go into the upgrade room, that's a good little place to hole up. Okay, now this section is probably one of the most important that you actually do silently. The amount of enemies in this room, I want to say double if you trigger the alarm. So you'll really want to go for those headshots as best you can. And you can take your time here. I think it takes them a while to spot you if you leave them up. As long as you take your time and go for those headshots, you should be good. There is a vent to my left that you can crawl through. I think it's to my left. And it goes towards the kitchen. And if you do trigger them, you can kind of use that vent and shoot at them from up here. But you're going to have to deal with a lot of heavies. So it's kind of annoying. And once your objective updates that you can go to the elevator, that's pretty much it.
It's over, Schwartz.
So after you've dealt with the general, you only need to hit the last prompt, and then you're done with this DLC. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. Wasn't too bad. But I do hope this video helped you out, and I suppose that's it. Thanks for watching.
welcome back.
Yeah. Mission complete. You didn't do too bad yourself.
I think we did great. You know, Dad, I think we make a pretty good team. Think you got another fight left in you?
We did make a pretty good team. And I wasn't ready to hang these boots up yet. That sun gun is still out there. We've still got a job to do.